Hmm? Ah! Oh.
You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode, we are talking about the Japanese thriller film Battle Royale, directed by Kinji Fukasaku and released December 16th, 2000. That's right. This was almost 23 years ago.
Oh my God.
How the hell has it been that long?
I don't know. I remember having to order a copy of this movie from overseas because you couldn't get it here.
Yeah, mine is like the 2001 Japanese special edition something. It's like...
Yeah. I just remember that Chris had heard about this movie and it being very controversial. So we decided to go for it and get a copy of it so that we could check it out.
Yeah. And
I loved it right from first watch. I thought it was intense. There was a lot of action. It's kind of gory. It's not something that I've seen in American cinema like this. I mean, I've seen a Kill Bill, okay?
Yeah.
Slicing and dicing and blood going everywhere. But something with kids, like, 15-year-old kids, is just not something that I've seen in the U.S.
Yeah.
So that was, that made it even more intriguing because it's just not a movie that would be made here. I don't even know if they could make it here now.
Yeah, probably not. I was thinking that while watching this. I was like, I think, typically we're like, America doesn't need to remake every international film and make it its own. But as I'm watching it, I'm like, I think it would be really cool to see an Americanized version of this. But the caveat being, it would have to be done in the same tone. It would have to be doing it justice. And I don't think American cinema can get away with that nowadays. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. The Japanese have always been doing movies like this, I feel like. They're the movies that intrigue you right from the beginning. I mean, we have The Ring, which of course was in Japan first, and it was called Ringu.
Yeah.
The Grudge, again, a remake of a Japanese movie.
Yeah.
They've been doing creative, clever, gory, terrifying movies for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So this should never have been a surprise. However, it was incredibly well done by a father and son duo.
Mm-hmm. I dig it. It's a good one. It's one like I said, I own that special edition DVD. I actually have the sequel as well, which maybe we'll cover that at some point. It's a little more divisive and not for what, is in the movie necessarily, but just kind of the story itself and kind of continuing things. But yeah, we might go there. I enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, this first one is just something very special for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely got a huge cult following. It's iconic. To me, the story is very well told. It's chaotic, though. I mean, we were kind of talking before we started recording. We're very character-driven on this podcast. And when you're starting a movie that has at least 42 characters, plus additional characters on top of the 42, it can be very complicated to try to track everything that's happening. And so we're going to do our best. However, hopefully things don't get muddied. We're definitely going to do what we can to keep things on track. However, we're going to focus on the characters, and it may take us all over the place.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be bouncing around everywhere for sure.
Yeah. Well, we might as well get started the way we always do, with some production notes. So it was filmed on Hajijo Kojima Island and in Shibuya-ku, Japan. Was based on the controversial 1999 novel of the same name by Kushan Takami. It was adapted for the screen by Kinji Fukasaku's own son, Kenta. Was nominated for 9 awards at the Japanese Academy Awards, winning Outstanding Achievement in Film Editing, the Popularity Award, and Newcomer of the Year, which went to Tatsuya Fujiwara and Aki Maeda. The tagline for this movie is 42 students, 3 days, 1 survivor, no rules. And a second tagline, could you kill your best friend? The budget was $4.5 million. The box office brought in $30.6 million. It's 113 minutes long. Pake, give us a synopsis.
All right. The Japanese government captures a class of 9th grade students and forces them to kill each other under the revolutionary new Battle Royale Act.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is, I have some thoughts. So before we get to like character stuff a little bit, those were my like setup notes, which is kind of new that I have those because I was like, these aren't character things related, but they kind of set up what we're looking at. Which is, the Battle Royale Act. So, which right off the bat, even before that storyline, just the Requiem prologue music piece at the start of the movie is fire. It's so good.
Yeah. I hear that music sometimes in figure skating. Whenever I do, it takes me straight back to the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah. It's great. But in a world, where certain American politicians would say, nobody wants to work. The youth of the nation, and not the POD song, rebel against school and the system and all of that. So the adults and the government initiate the Millennium Educational Reform Act, or Battle Royale. This game each year, a Hunger Game, if you will, in a way to help people understand the format, if you're not sure, except this came first.
It most definitely did.
Yeah, reminds me of a joke that I really love that's also a fun Pulp Fiction reference, which is, what do they call the Hunger Games in France? Battle Royale with cheese. Anyway, they draw a random class of kids and have them all fight to the death down to a lone survivor to teach them dang rebellious kids about respect and such, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's interesting because right at the start we get to see the winner of last year's Battle Royale, and it's a little girl with a blood-stained dress and doll who's got a grin on her face because she's basically gone mad.
Yeah, I would believe that for sure. Yeah. And it's interesting because like this was kind of the big start of like the Battle Royale format is this movie, to where, like I said, Hunger Games was actually, I mean, as much as I enjoy Hunger Games for what it is, I mean, it's a blatant ripoff of this. It really is. It's just so many ideas. But even nowadays, even more like very popular modern day things, the entire game of Fortnite that all the dang kids and some adults are playing. It's the exact same thing. You know, everyone's on a deserted island. The game ends when there's only one left alive. There are areas that get, like danger zones that are in this movie, where the areas that the participants can be in get smaller and smaller and smaller over time, pushing everybody together. So that's Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite, but I know enough about it. Of course, in this one, also to further push them to participate, instead of just letting them all like hang out and have like an island retreat for a weekend, then there's a limit of the number of days, and if there isn't a winner in that time, then they all just die. So then they kind of get pushed that way.
Yeah, those collars are quite effective. That is for sure. Yeah, I remember when Hunger Games came out, or not the book, but the movies, were being developed, there were a lot of Battle Royale fans who were not pleased about it because they felt it was a blatant ripoff.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, Battle Royale started something.
It did,
and now,
for
sure. Other medium, not just movies, because you just talked about a game, have copied it, and it's kind of morphed into other things.
Yeah, and then it's even, think of other movies and stories that kind of play off of it. Like, I think of, what is the movie? The Condemned. That's almost like a mix of this and The Most Dangerous Game. Like, this.
It is, and you know what? I've seen it. It's not, I don't think it's bad. It's not bad.
Like, WWE production movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty great.
Well, I mean, and
I'll
talk
give it
about,
its due. Yeah.
If you think about it, we went, okay. So I watch professional wrestling, so does Pake. We both watch AEW. What is one of my favorite things that goes on in wrestling?
Oh, yeah, it's always the Battle Royale. Yeah.
I love it.
You start with just a whole group of people and you whittle it down to see who's left. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I find it engaging and fun and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm glad that we decided to cover Battle Royale this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've wanted to talk about it for a while, and there's just so much about it that it's an intriguing movie, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it can be rough, for sure. There's definitely some rough stuff in it. And we'll talk about that. So let's get into things, kind of do our character breakdowns, as much as I feel though there's like 70 different stories going on. There's only 42 kids, but there's 70 stories somehow.
It's crazy.
But yeah, so we'll start. I kind of have them thrown together, Shuya and Noriko.
Yes.
Because they spend the whole time together as much as they can.
Yeah, there's only like a very short window of time where they get separated, but most of the time you're right. They're together.
Yeah. So we start the main part of the movie, of course, with Shuya's backstory, which is
incredibly
very sad. But I'll let you talk about a lot of those things, because here I was like, I'm going to let Daphne kind of run the reins on all this main story stuff. She's very well versed in it. There's a lot to keep track of, and I'm just here to be unhelpful and make jokes. That's what I do.
Goodness. I'm not sure I'm ready for that.
Yeah, like the part where he's giving this like overview, like voiceover, and it's like, and soon after this teacher quit, talking about Kitano, and I was like, well, yeah, duh, I'd quit too after getting slashed and like magged by a student. Of course. He like says it like, who could believe this? I'm like, well, anyone. Really.
Yeah. No one wants to be threatened with physical violence at their job.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not something you want to do. Yeah. So we do meet Shuya, and it's a very sad tale. His mom is not in the picture. His dad hangs himself when he's in the 7th grade. So when he's 13, his dad hangs himself.
Yeah.
And he ends up in foster care with Nobu, who becomes his BFF. And Nobu happens to be the one who took the knife to Kitano's leg.
He did. Which at first, you're like, what kind of terrible kid would do that? And then you learn about Kitano, and you're like,
oh, yeah.
Nobu, I do like you. Yeah, yes. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because I do. I love Nobu. He's not with us for a long time, but he's a fun character.
He is. So, Nobu and Shuya are in foster care together. They get to be really, really good friends. And Nobu has a crush on one of the girls in their class named Noriko. Except that Noriko has a crush on Shuya. Because she makes him some cookies that, for the bus ride home, they basically have a class trip. Noriko has talked Nobu into coming back to school after he left school for a little while because of slicing the teacher in the leg. She gets him to come back for the class trip. Might have been a better idea not to come back for the class trip.
Wasn't great. But those scenes on the bus and stuff. Well, at first, I liked them because you kind of see the friendships, the relationships, the connection. Where, yeah, you learn, like, Noriko is very fond of Shuya, and we see Shuya still very reserved and kept to himself. And then Nobu, of course, again, I like him because I was like, oh, he's the goofy kid in the friend group.
He is.
He's like, he's just extra wheeling it and he doesn't mind. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm here too.
Yeah.
He's like me. He's like, I'm here to make jokes. Thank you.
And Noriko has a friend named Megumi who, is encouraging her to take the cookies and give them to Shuya. And they're on like this field trip. They were all excited. Nobu is his friend, but he's also got this other little group of friends that he's close with as well. But they get on the bus, and the teacher's on the bus, and he's in the back kind of playing some silly game with the girls. I know that sounds completely ridiculous, but you have to see it. It's pretty harmless, I think.
Yeah.
But he's in the back doing that, and the next thing you know, they go into a tunnel, and everyone goes to sleep.
Yeah, because our Class B, as we learn here,
yes,
have been secretly chosen to be taken to the island for the Battle Royale. They are the class of choice this year, gassed in the bus to fall asleep, but Shuya woke up to realize that, only for some lady in a gas mask to come and knock him back out. All he wanted was those cookies.
I know, finally. He never got to eat one of her cookies. That was sad.
Honestly, the saddest part of the whole movie is the no, I'm kidding.
No, because someone else eats the cookies and it pisses me off.
Yeah. And yeah, when they wake up, it's not the best place to wake up from a surprise nap.
No.
Dark classroom surrounded by military with explosive collars around your necks. It's one of my like 5 least favorite ways to wake up.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so they're in the school, which it's basically this island. It's deserted, but there are still like remnants of things of the past. Like there's a school and there's like a medical clinic and there are different things around the island. And but all of the kids wake up and little by little they start to realize that they're in a place that's not familiar to them. And they hear a chopper coming outside, and in walks Kitano. Crazy Kitano. And just starts acting like this is the greatest thing ever, that they've been selected for this. And they don't understand why they've been selected.
Yeah.
But he basically thinks they're all losers and that they brought it on themselves.
Right. Yeah, I've got thoughts about Katana, but we'll get to him.
We'll get to him later.
Yeah, and there's just chaos ensues.
Yeah.
With the kids realizing, and I've kind of got like an others section that we'll get to as well, that like I'll go back because there's just so many random kids and deaths and things, and it's like, instead of trying to do them all in order, it's just like, again, if you watch the movie, we don't even give you a play-by-play on what's going on.
We don't.
So yeah, just following Shoyu, Noriko as well. But yeah, as you see like things happening and they're realize shit is real. It's not because some of the kids are like laughing at first because they're like, oh wow, what kind of cruel joke is this? And then,
this is a prank. This isn't real.
Throw one knife in somebody's head, blow one person's head off, and you realize maybe it's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, and sadly, they come to the realization that this isn't a joke. This is a real deal. This is, what one class every year deals with. And one thing we didn't talk about is the why, which is unemployment's at 15%, which in Japan, I think is 10 million people don't have jobs. And kids have basically gone wild and are committing a lot of crimes, so they decide to sacrifice a class every year to get rid of some of the riffraff, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons. One of the craziest things about this movie, I think, is that whole video education piece with the woman who's just talking about.
It's like an introduction to a game show.
It is.
Yeah. Bubbly
It is.
and goofy and animated. Yeah, like, I mean, not computer animated, but her way of acting is very animated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so the kids are all just starting to realize shit is real. And one of the girls is too busy gossiping or talking. And yeah, as Pake just said a few minutes ago, a knife to the head.
That'll do it.
And
That'll
she
teach
was
you.
gone right away. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That was the end of it. Girl number 18, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
Fujiyoshi, knife to the head. And then basically he does to Nobu what Nobu did to him. And he slashes him in the leg because Nobu is, freaking out about the situation. He's, even though he knows it's real, he's trying to get out of it. He's trying to figure out how to make it stop. And Kitano's not taking it. And so he slashes him in the leg. And then he does the unthinkable, and that is to turn on the necklace that Nobu's wearing around his neck, which is part of the whole story that's being told in the video training.
Yeah, it's just lined up just perfect. It's like, let me tell you all about these collars. And then he's like, let's see one in action.
Yep.
Boom. 'Cause I'm fed up with this kid.
Because they're told, this is an incredible opportunity, and it's almost like they're trying to celebrate it, and there's dangerous areas on the island, and you'll get a map, and you'll have to keep track of where you are.
Yeah, that's the extra challenge of those danger zones, is you have to be good at using a map and have your bearing of where you are. I'd be screwed. I'm like watching them as like the announcements are made, and there's like, okay, well, there's this spot. It's like, how do you even know where you are on the island at any time? Like, yeah, no, just count me out right now. I'm not working with a map. Give me a phone with the Google Maps, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. But again, I still don't have... If you've never been on this island before, how do you know where you are on the map?
You don't. I mean, you can guess based on if you're near one of the landmarks, like the school or whatever, you can kind of guess where you are. Those kids were good with maps.
Yeah.
Because people weren't really getting into trouble by being in the danger zone.
I don't think we ever saw that come to fruition.
It didn't.
They set it up with, like, if you're in one of the danger zones, when that time runs out, then your collar will explode, and then that never happened throughout the movie. Like,
yeah, I think that's more something that happens in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
With the danger zones and some other new rules. They know they only have 3 days. They're told that their parents have been notified. Can you imagine being told, well, your parents know you're here, and I'd be pissed. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why am I here, And we're talking about kids who are 15 years old, 14 or 15 years old. They are not adults. These are kids. Out of control kids in some cases, but kids nonetheless.
Yeah.
And so one by one, they're sent out. And Shuya is one of the last...
He's not outside.
Yeah.
But he's not outside for 30 seconds, and someone's already dead.
Yep.
Because boy number 1 is ready to go home. Even
yes,
though
he is.
Gone next, almost by accident. Because,
yeah. That was so strange. Because it is kind of... If you did like a tracker of who killed who and how many, there's going to be a lot of kids with like 1 kill.
Yeah.
Because it's an accident.
It was just like a freak thing, because that's what we see with like Shuya's first one.
Yeah.
Which I still don't even know how to, like, if I can... It's done in a way where you don't know. He doesn't know if he killed Oki. nobody really knows for sure. But yeah, because we get this kid, Oki, who jumps both of them, which the pot lid came in handy.
Yes, it did.
But then from like our viewpoint, kind of what you're saying, I was like, and then Oki somehow manages to chop himself in his own head with an axe.
Yes.
Which honestly is kind of impressive. Maybe Shuya got him. He's terrified of the thought of that. He's like, that bothers him. He's like, I didn't do that. I'm not here to do that. And then the nerdy kid shows up right after that and starts, who pops up with a gun and shooting at him.
Motobuchi. Oh my goodness.
And his tough guy catchphrases are yelling out mathematical formulas. And I'm like, buddy, you need to work on your promo skills. That's not good.
He needs some time with MJF.
Yeah. It's the worst promo I've ever heard.
Motobuchi was the kid who at the beginning of the movie asked, well, if I'm the last one standing, or if I win, do I get to go home?
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't want to be there. Like, none of the kids wanted to be there, but he was one in the beginning that was just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty intent on taking out Noriko and Shuya.
Yeah.
I think... yeah.
Kawada was there to step in. So,
in addition to the 40 kids that came from the school, they had 2, quote, exchange students that were there. Kiriyama and Kawada.
Yeah. Yep, there's some interesting stuff about them, but we'll learn.
We'll learn about that later.
Yeah. And as far as like sticking with Shuya and Noriko for a little while, there's like big chunks of the movie that I just skip or move past because again, there's so many storylines and so many things going on that it's like, we get back to them. She did get grazed by an arrow from the number one there at the beginning, one of those like crossbow bolts. So she's kind of got a little infection going on and isn't faring super well. Kind of passes out. So Shuya takes her to this nice, quaint little house, which is where Kawada is. This transfer student. It's a nice setup. I mean, he's got a clinic and a kitchen and everything. He can really patch old binoculars up, can't he?
Yes. It was the Island Medical Clinic, and so they figured that out, I guess, from the map, but I didn't think that... I didn't see it on the map, so I don't know, like, for real. It just seems like it's not... I don't know.
Yeah.
But they end up there, and it's great, and it's cool. Kawada's father's a doctor. Or is he?
Or is he?
But he's able to help Noriko.
Yeah.
And they get a little bit of downtime while some other stuff's going on.
Lots of things are going on. All the things are going on. Like I said, my like others notes, like I've got those broken into some different characters and it's all chaos.
So we're going to stick though to Shuya and Noriko and get through their story, and then we can go back and talk about some of the others.
Yeah.
They were
the best way.
They were doing really good at that clinic until Kiriyama. Who's a psychopath.
Oh, absolutely.
One of multiple psychopaths in this movie.
Dude is insane. But yeah, they kind of have heads up. There's a grenade.
Oh my god. Oda.
But Shuya does leave the house. He decides to kind of protect Noriko in that way, lure Kiriyama away. Even gets a couple of shots in on him, except obviously he collected the bulletproof vest from Oda. Because we see the two returning, these like transfer students, Kawada and Kiriyama, even though they're like on two very opposite sides of the spectrum of like how they're playing and who they are as a person.
Yeah.
They both have a very similar like style at first, where they're taking out anyone who's a threat to them, and then they collect the weapons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they know what they're doing.
Well, Kawada should, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So the bulletproof vest is also part of that collection, so she is not able to take him down there. Hiroki
Thank God.
yeah.
Sugamura. Yeah,
Sugamura.
Hiroki Sugamura.
I ended up going with the first names, which you would say second when talking about them, like actually saying them, like in Japanese, you say it's the surname and then the first name, which is interesting. And so most of them call each other by their surnames.
Yes.
But I had an easier way of keeping track of people by having them listed as their first names that you don't hear as often for some reason. That's how I did the notes. Yeah. Like even like the other one, like Shinji. I don't even remember, like, because it's similar. It's like, but I'm just like, it's easier for me to keep it that way for some reason, even though that's not even what most people are calling them throughout the movie.
I know they do a lot of the last name first.
Yeah,
and so mine are a mix between. Mostly a mix between Kiriyama and Kawada are last names.
Yes.
Most of the others, I think, I have first names, but there are some instances that I don't.
Yeah. Where we? Yeah. So, the Shuya Kiriyama face off, which ends. Yeah, when I said when Hiroki intervenes, they both escape into the water. Where that's it until we see Shuya wake up in a lighthouse. Find out that Hiroki brought him there. He's all patched up. Noriko and Kawada are fine. Their names have not been announced on the morning death alerts.
Yeah.
Our morning announcements.
Morning announcements. And Shuya's really scared because he had missed 3 of them, so he was afraid that he had missed some.
He had missed the fact that, there's a couple of boys that were dead because Mitsuko decided to get her praying mantis on.
That is another character that there's a lot to her, a lot to talk about with her.
Mm-hmm.
She and Kiriyama were 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she is in the lighthouse. There's all these girls around. You're like, oh, that sounds great. Except they lock him in his room.
Yes.
Because Yuki, one of the girls there, saw what happened with.
Nope, that's Yuka. Okay.
There was Yuki and Yuka.
There's Yuki, Yuka, and Yuko.
And Yuko.
Okay.
They were all there.
So Yuki Yutsumi is the one that's in the room with him and telling him what's going on. And that Sugimura Hiroki was going on a quest of his own, but that Momura and his group were working on something in the east, I believe, and they needed to go, she was passing on the message. Yuko, unfortunately, saw the altercation that happened with Shuya and Aki and thinks that Shuya killed Aki.
Yeah.
So she decides...
Doesn't trust him.
So she decides to poison the pasta, but instead Yuka comes in, grabs the plate of pasta, and starts eating it before Yuko can say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So while Shuya is upstairs, resting comfortably, hell breaks out.
Yeah. Trust just breaks down at breakneck speed. Things escalate super quickly. And then everyone in the kitchen is dead.
Yep.
Except Yuko, the one who was the actual killer in the first place. But then she jumps off the top of the lighthouse after setting Shuya free. So, just out of guilt and shame. So, which by the way, I've seen enough wrestling to know that baka means stupid, which is what this last girl is repeating to herself before she dies. Because I just picture only like AEW like fans will understand. Like, so it's like it's a very niche like reference, but I hear it like the baka, and then I immediately comes to my head is Nyla Rose, because seeing her like wrestle this like other like Japanese girl and like bopping her on the head in the middle of the match going baka, and I just laughed so hard.
Oh man.
But yeah.
So Shuya's still, though, in really bad shape.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, Noriko's resting up with Kawada. And then it was kind of weird because she has like this weird dream about like Kitano, and we get some Kitano stuff, which I'll talk about. But then she gets up and she's like, I'm going to shoot you. And it's like, wait, what? Like, how did you even know? And it's kind of weird, but instead she runs into Mitsuko. But then, yeah, luckily she leaves because that crazy person would have definitely killed Noriko. But then Kitano himself appears. And I was thinking, like, Mitsuko was like, why did you run off? You take that moment and you kill Kitano.
Yeah. I mean, he's a pawn in the game too, I think.
Right.
In some ways.
I don't care about him.
No. So basically,
no
though, Kitano
he gets
did
no sympathy points.
Kitano did save Noriko from Mitsuko because she would have killed her. I mean, we've seen her wrath of vengeance and craziness. Yeah. So, yeah, and he notices that she's with Shuya because Shuya appears just before.
Yeah. It's in real rough shape, but he made it. He's there. Yeah, but that's the thing, like, it's good for Noriko that, you know, she's alive, she was saved, she's got an umbrella, but still, 0 sympathy points for Kitano. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I'll talk about him just with that thought, because they give that little tiny moment where you want a little sympathy from him. You know, he's got like the phone call and I was like, oh, boo-hoo, you're lonely, and some people treat you like crap. Welcome to the world. Don't take glee in the murder of children.
And that was his daughter on the phone.
Yeah.
That's giving him a hard time.
Yeah. Well, knowing the person he is, makes sense.
And Shuya had these, like, daydreams or dreams, basically, of Nobu telling him to take care of Noriko.
Yeah. With
for him.
You know, pulling a basketball to him using his force powers. It was real cool.
I didn't understand that piece of it.
It's a little strange.
Like, I'm not sure what this fever dream is, but
right.
He wants him to take care of her, which he's trying to do. And Shuya at one point says, you know, I brought weapons, I'm weak and useless, but I'll stay by your side, I'll protect you. And it's like, he's doing everything he can. He led Kiriyama away to save her.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing everything that he can do, but he's just not, I mean, he's in real rough shape. He's been shot. We're not talking that he was resting at the lighthouse for a week. He was resting overnight at the lighthouse. Like, he didn't have a lot of time to rest.
No. Yeah, and then it goes back to just a lot of
chaos?
Other scenes, because we've got to whittle down that number from like 20 to 4. So we're going to get all the way to there.
Yeah.
And we see how all of that plays out over time. Talk about those. But then even the Kawada-Kiriyama showdown, I have more in like Kawada notes. I have his own little section.
Yeah.
So really when it's just the 3 of them, I think it's a fun little twist, because you get, you know, what it looks like is Kawada turns on them at the end and kills them, and then it's like, oh, and that's the end, and Kawada's the winner, and he goes back to, you know, the military leave, and he goes back to Kitano, and that's where you get that twist of, oh, Kawada actually was the one that knew how to turn off the callers, and he knew that they were being listened to the whole time, so it was all a ruse to end the game, which again, Hunger Games kind of took from that as well.
Yes.
Not exactly, but like sort of a play on it. But But Kitano figured as much out already. He kind of knew what was going on. He knew about Kawada's, he didn't know about Kawada's plan, but he knew, I guess, kind of knew of him well enough to figure he would try something like that, knew his backstory. And then it was kind of weird, because then, I'm still not sure, was Kitano planning on killing all of them? Or did he just want Noriko to kill him and then the others to survive? Like, I wasn't sure. Like, it seemed like he wanted all of them to die, but then the way he did it, he was like, you're doing a bad job out of it. I mean, you came to a machine gun fight with a water gun. It's not gonna...
Yeah. But they didn't know that's what it was.
Right.
I mean, Shuya had no idea, and he took him out. I mean, he had to.
Yeah. He was planning, I guess, just to like die with them after showing them this disturbed art project that he had been working on.
Which I have to tell you that the actor who played Kitana painted it himself.
Wow, that's fun. That's fun and also a little scary. No,
yes. Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, you said Shuya takes him out. Well, kinda. Because then he does get back up so he can go answer his phone. While he's riddled with bullets, he gets up, answers his phone, tells his daughter off, puts a cookie in his mouth, and then dies. So
Yeah. That was interesting.
Priorities, you know?
It's like, I'm going to get the last cookie
before you're gone. Yeah.
Because he wouldn't let the other guy have a cookie earlier when he was like grabbing.
Right. And it's just like this scene, which is kind of, it's funny in a dark way kind of reveal where Shuya and Noriko are talking. She's like, you didn't even get to have any of the cookies I made you. And then it just cuts to him eating the cookies.
Yeah.
Because I did it for the cookie. Yeah, the cookie. Yeah, no.
That was lovely. Truly lovely.
Uh-huh. And so yeah, then our surviving kids take off on a boat that was there. And
yeah, I don't know where the boat came from, but I'm glad it was there. The three of them do take off.
And then it's the end. It's a super happy ending. Kawada dies. Someone needs to start steering the boat because it's starting to circle. Also, the two survivors are wanted as fugitives and they're on the run for Katano's murder. They probably won't even have time to catch the Teletubbies live show that's being advertised in the background. So, warm fuzzies all around.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately earlier, which we will talk about, Kawada gets shot.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in a minute.
I mean, unless you've got, more Shuya and Noriko kind of stuff, then Kawada is the next one I want to talk about. But
okay. Well, I wanted to mention just a couple of things. One, Noriko wasn't very trusting of others. Part of that comes from getting bullied.
Yeah.
At school, because we do get scenes of that. That was one thing I wanted to mention. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. So the character of Kawada, we've talked about him a little bit. He's one of these transfer students, him and Kiriyama, which are very interesting. They feel out of place right off the bat. Like, here's all the students in their uniforms, and then these two guys.
Yeah, they're in some different, they're not wearing the same uniforms. They're just kind of sitting at the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And Kawada definitely seems to understand how this is played.
Yeah, he gets his name called, he grabs his bag, runs out, then comes back in and gets a different bag, his bag, and they let him because he's special.
He's very special. I'm surprised they let him come back, given
they
what
made him
learn
come back.
later. Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. He didn't have a choice. That was
He was probably causing too much trouble.
Yeah, so Kawada was a previous participant in the game, and they brought him back to shake things up, kind of as he says, which is another thing the Hunger Games stole, by the way.
Yeah. So Kawada is older. He played the games 3 years prior.
3 years. Mm-hmm.
And he and his girlfriend were the final two. Keiko was his girlfriend. They were the final two.
He was ready to have both of them die in a tie, let it just go out in a blaze of glory, and instead she shoots him in the stomach with a non-fatal shot, but that makes him shoot back and ends up killing her. And then she says thank you and dies, and this is kind of haunted him of what did she mean? What is this thank you? Why did she smile at me? What is it? What does she mean? But he wins the game and moves on. And even though it's not 100% given, at the very last line of his part in the movie is he says he understands, and he kind of gives this idea of it means, thank you for for being the one true friend that I could have. But it's just him kind of thinking in his last moments. And I think Noriko really helps with that question, because it's the same I was thinking. I think she purposely did what she did knowing he would live.
Mm-hmm.
And the thank you is just being there for her till the end, no matter what. Yeah.
And being close. Like, they meant a lot to each other. I think not just being a couple, but they were, good friends too. Like, very close and connected. And I think she appreciated their relationship.
Yeah, and he returns the favor of Noriko kind of bringing that to him by saying, well, he's got a way off the island, and if they trust him, which again, then we see, as we talked about, it play out, this kind of secret plan. And he even gives Shuya the gun and the ammo that he has as, like, goodwill. So yeah, they were very interesting. Like, him and Kiriyama, two sides of a coin that are very different. As they're both there as kind of outsiders. When we first see him, he spares Shuya and Noriko because their weapons suck royally. He's just like, what do you have? And he's like...
Binoculars
in a pot lid, and he's like, go. Just get out of here.
No.
Yeah, and then they kind of stick with him when they hear the two girls with the megaphone who are trying to bring everyone together for peace, and then Kiriyama hears it and shuts that shit down.
Oh, man. That was rough, because Shuya, basically his friends are getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
He knows them. The people that, Yukiko and Yumiko are up on what looks like a roadside, basically, with a megaphone, getting everyone to come, and they can hear his voice, and they want him to come up there, and as you said, Kiriyama puts an end to it.
Mm-hmm. And then when we talked about them being at the house with Kawada, they run back into him, which, Kawada, is your dad a doctor? Or is he a chef? Maybe both? Doctor, chef? Chef, doctor? I don't know.
He's lots of things, because he's also a fisherman.
Yeah. Yeah, because I say at the end when he dies, I said, I'm sure Kawada's father, Dr. Chef Fisherman, is very proud of him. Or is it Chef Fisherman Doctor? Or Captain Dr. Chef?
I don't know. Hopefully, he is proud of him for his efforts.
Yeah. And so you said, he was wounded. How he died is, we see after, I'll talk about Kiriyama a little bit more too, but, he blows up, the bombs are all blown up when he shows up there at the end. And he was blinded by the light, and they probably could have just let him wander, but Kawada faces off with him, pops his collar, and not in the fashionable way of the 90s, but does get wounded in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone had to take Kiriyama out.
Mm-hmm.
No one had been successful prior, so... I'm sorry, even a blind Kiriyama is a threat.
Yeah.
Really. His hearing was spot on.
Yep.
So
it's like a bat.
Yeah.
Have any more notes on him? Yeah, again, a lot of them are kind of quick, other than there's a lot of random other thoughts that I do have, but
yeah. He kind of gave them advice. He gave Shuya and Noriko the advice that it was going to be difficult going forward, and that they, need to be prepared for that. I think his prior knowledge of everything was helpful, because he could kind of anticipate. He knew that it wasn't a good idea for Yukiko and Yumiko to be up on the hill screaming for everyone to come join and have, a party, because that's definitely not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not quite.
No, not in this situation. And it's revealed at the end that he actually hacked in and was able to take the collars off.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to.
Although I don't understand that really either, because we saw Shinji do it.
I know.
So I'm confused
Shinji,
about that.
Okay. So I think Kawada hacked it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how he could have, because Nobu... I mean, he hacked it. Maybe he hacked... He didn't even know he was going to be there. So I'm not sure how he made it work. So... But in the end, Kitano thought that Kawada had done it.
Mm-hmm.
However, it wasn't him. I think it was Shinji. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Shinji did, 'cause Shinji had his whole... Which, I get, like, his, like, hacker persona is this, like, character playing basketball with his number on it, and it's like, oh yeah, they'll never figure out it was you with your...
I loved it. I loved it.
It is,
though.
it's fun, but, like, also, like, maybe think it through a little more.
I liked it, though. I liked his whole storyline, and I'm looking forward to us talking about his storyline.
I've got some thoughts about them. But the last, like, main character, I guess I want to talk about, which I've talked about Kitano a little bit. If you're good with Kawada, if you're done.
Absolutely. We can talk about
Which
Kitano.
We talked about him a little bit, is he walks in and we find out that, yeah, he's the one guy, their teacher for this assignment. Which, yeah, the 7th grade teacher who was attacked by Nobu, and now he's back again to get his revenge. And it's like, well, how do you get a kid like Nobu who left school back into the group? Yeah, class field trip, which again, we learn he was invited back. But yeah, also, we really learned that Kitano was a shit teacher. Who basically was telling Nobu that he was dumb and he shouldn't even try. And then he has the gall to get offended that the kid stopped showing up. Like, I don't know, maybe be less awful as an adult figure.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
And then their new teacher, who actually got along with the students and didn't suck as a human being, gets brutally murdered because he didn't want his class to be chosen for the murder game.
Yeah.
So
it sounds, based on the condition of the body, he fought back really hard for those kids.
Yeah. And Kitano just really, in that opening, or not opening scene, but like the opening scenes of the like Battle Royale games when they're in this classroom on the island, you see that he had really found his medium to enact all of the bad teacher rage and feelings that he had been bottling up from all these years. He's just taking so much pleasure in the fear and terrorizing of these kids as they're realizing what's happening. And throwing things at them, like chalk and knives, like we said. It was like, no, Kitano, that kills people.
Yep. Fujiyoshi, knife to the head.
So that's why even in those little moments where they tried to like humanize him near the end, I was like, no sympathy.
No.
Still fuck that guy. I don't care. And it's like, oh, he's just so lonely and his daughter treats him like crap. And I'm like, good. Because he's probably as bad of a father as he is a teacher.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. So messed up. So messed up. These kids, I mean, there were musical selections in this movie that are classical pieces, like the Radetzky March, the Blue Danube Waltz. Like, these are songs I've heard.
Yeah.
And not in this context. And when I hear them out in the wild now, after seeing this movie, like with the opening, it just has changed everything. Because this is just so intense.
Yeah, that's all I had, was just going to take a minute or so to talk a little more trash about Kitano, because it's fun.
Oh, I thought you want... Okay, well, that's good. Yeah. It was actually Shinji who asks him why he's doing it, and he tells them that it's their own damn fault for not respecting adults.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he took joy in this, I think.
He did.
And he ate Noriko's cookies that were not meant for him.
No. What a jerk. Jerky, jerk face jerk.
Okay, so who do you want to move on to next?
Well, let's see. The main ones I have just a group of random other people that I could just go through like a little list of what happened to some people. But then, yeah, Kiriyama, I have a couple of thoughts on. Mitsuko, I have a couple of thoughts on. Shinji and his friends, I've got a couple of thoughts on it. And then, Chigusa, I have a couple of thoughts on.
Yeah.
So, wherever you want to go with it.
Let's go to Kiriyama.
All right. So, the first time we really see him outside in the game is this other group of students that corner him, which I was like, it's a little hard to threaten someone for information when you literally just said the words, "We're not going to kill anyone." And then you like point a gun at him. I'm like, well,
that's not going to be effective.
Right. But they want to know like who he and Kawada are and what's their game. Why are they here?
Yeah.
They don't get an answer because he just guns all of them down and collects their weapons.
It sounds like a video game.
Yeah, it really kind of is.
It does.
He has multiple guns and grenades, leaves the nunchucks, but the real question is, does he take the fan that was his original weapon? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
No. I mean, it's not useful. Yeah. It really makes me think of like The Last of Us or one of those other games where you have like a shootout and then you go collect things.
Then you got to run around and like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like half of Red Dead, right? Is like fighting a bunch of people, and then like before you move on to the next part, you're like, and pick up all the ammo and money out of everybody's pockets.
Yep.
Yes.
You collect it all. And that's exactly what he and Kawada were doing. But Kiriyama took everything to a whole new level.
Yeah. Because as we learn, Kawada is back against his will, but Kiriyama, on the other hand, is just a full-on psychopath who willingly signed up to take part in the game.
Yep.
And then, yeah, so this kid, Oda, is outside the medical shack there. Thought he outsmarted him by playing dead with the bulletproof vest, but he celebrated too early, and we get Kiriyama reappearing on the roof with the samurai sword. Honestly, it looks so incredibly badass. It does. It's kind of awesome. And then, yeah, after he kills Oda, he realizes there are people in the house, and throws a grenade through the window. Oh, yeah, that grenade happened to be in the mouth of Oda's decapitated head. Yeah. By the way, fun fact about that.
Very clever.
So, Kiriyama's definitely evil, but he does it with pizzazz, so I will give him that. Style points for sure.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely gets style points. Yeah. And he has swagger, for sure. I think he really felt he could win it, and honestly, I think if Kawada had not been there, there's a good chance that Kiriyama would have won the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was evil. I mean, there really was only one other person that I felt could match his psychoticness. And we'll talk about that person in a few minutes.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or now, if you don't have more Kiriyama thoughts. Because, like I said, it's just little bits of thoughts on certain characters now. So, that's all I had.
Yeah. Okay, then let's talk about Mitsuko.
All right. Yeah, the first time we really see her in the game, she's definitely a little deranged. She comes into the shack where Megumi is hiding, and she's, like, acting friendly with her for a bit, just so she can get the taser away from her. And then she slits her throat with the sickle. Because she's not going out like Yoshimi and Kuramoto, the couple who went out together on their own terms, it seems.
There were more than just that one suicide.
Yes, there was also the couple of Sakura and her boyfriend, which, yes, that's one of the other little notes. Is Sakura, random side tangent, because there's extra little notes on there. So yeah, Sakura throws her bag with supplies at Kitano. Which is kind of this defiance for what's going on, because they're given these, like, bags with supplies, food, and then a random weapon. Some good, not so good. Like, you know, I don't know, a pot lid or binoculars, just to think of some off the top of my head.
A fan.
But yeah, and she throws that supply bag at Kitano out of defiance, refusing it. And I was like, I kind of admire the move. It's not a good one, but I'll admire it. But then we see her plan anyway. She takes that defiance further with, you know, oh, I know one thing, I will never play this game. And she jumps off the cliff to her death with her boyfriend in tow, whether he really wanted to or not.
Yeah. At first I thought he went up with her just for moral support because he wanted to keep her safe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then he joined her in the leap of faith that turned out to be deadly.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Mitsuko has her friends that were there with her kind of take the same route. So then she just goes on this killing spree. She's just got her own agenda here. And then but then the next person she comes across is Hirono, which I thought Mitsuko was a little off, but then we meet Hirono and she proves that it can be worse because she's trying to kill Mitsuko over a stolen boyfriend and jealousy and all these things. She's just like in crazy town. I mean, she tried to match a tampon in the toilet to a person by checking to see if she was having her period when she died. I'm like, that's lot.
Deranged.
That's even like,
yeah, it's deranged.
But yeah, but Mitsuko's still very ruthless. She kind of acts the victim there, but then once she gets the gun from Hirono, takes her out. And then yeah, we just see her, like I said, just on this rampage, taking people out left and right. Throughout the whole movie, she's the one that takes out the weird perv. No, the weird perv kid was taken out by Chigusa. But
yeah.
Then she appears out of the woods like, boo! And shoots Chigusa. So,
yeah.
She's always there to clean up and finish up after every scene. And we get this other little scene about her where she had a traumatic past. No need to go into detail. The movie covers it just fine. But you go, little Mitsuko. I will give some props there.
Yeah,
always push guys like that down stairwells. Always do that. If there's a lesson to take from this movie, it's that. Push people like that downstairs. Thank you.
That was awful to watch.
Yeah.
So awful.
Yeah. But like even before this Battle Royale, I think those kind of things happening in her childhood made her the ruthless person she is, which pushes her far in the game.
Yeah.
In the end, she's no match for Kiriyama, but
she gave was the closest, I think.
Yeah.
I think as far as ruthlessness, the two of them were definitely the most ruthless. They excelled at this until their matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have any other thoughts, notes on her?
No, I'm good. Oh, yeah, but we haven't talked about that yet, so we'll get to that, and then I can talk about that.
All right.
Because we're keeping certain pieces of the story, like, off the table until we get to a certain character, so I'm trying to hold on to...
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the next that I have in mind is Shinji and his friends.
Oh.
This group of boys, I call them the AV Club. And
but they're the basketball team, right? Like,
but here they're the AV Club.
Okay. So Shinji Mamura and Keita Ijima were on the basketball team with Shuya.
Yeah.
And Soto was a fan in the stands, but they're all very, very close friends, along with Hiroki Sugimura.
Yeah.
It's Shuya's little group of friends.
Yeah. And we see, they've rigged up a computer and they have a generator for power. And at first I was like, where are you getting the sick-ass Wi-Fi to hack people? But I mean, I guess there's got to be some connection for all of the monitors and things going on the island. So
yeah,
there's got to be something for them to hack into.
Shinji Mamura is incredibly smart.
Yeah, he realizes there's the mic on the collars. And then, then he has to type the list to his friends versus saying anything. And he's just going through, it's like, just go out and find fertilizer, pesticide, charcoal, sulfur, and kerosene. And I was like, is it really that easy to just find those things on the island?
Evidently.
Here's my grocery list. Go get them. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they are successful. They make 2 bombs, 100 Molotov cocktails, or bombs, and 3 propane tanks. And their plan is to take all of that and ram into the school building and blow everything up.
And they get the bombs done. They have everything ready. Shinji hacks into the system, gives them this small little window of time in order to do it. And I love seeing the soldiers go on like full on panic mode. And then Kitano very calmly goes with, have we tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
I feel like he looked at them and just was like, am I really here with these people who have no idea what to do?
Yeah, so they have this small window of time and everything looks great. And then Kiriyama shows up and fucks it all. So, way to go, dude.
Yeah, he shows up, shoots Soto, then Ijima, and then Shinji Momura just says, okay, I'm going to blow everything up and take you with me. And that's what he tried to do, except it only blinded Kiriyama.
Mm-hmm.
So Kawada had to take him out. But I loved that little, like, side quest group of three doing all of those things because they just want to escape. They want to get out. They just want to leave. They don't want to be in this situation. And so you look at the different people in this class that got picked and you see all these things that they can do. And you start to question, okay, I know there are some people in this class that they're a pain in the ass or they're not as bright as the others, but this class has some decent basketball players, really smart hacker types. Like, I'm not sure why you picked this class.
Mm-hmm. Probably just because Kitano's a douche.
That could be. That could definitely be.
And then the last not main character, but last character I focused on more than others. Chigusa.
Did she look familiar to you?
Maybe. I think we've talked about it before, but it's...
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino saw her in this movie, and she went on to play Gogo Yubari.
Yeah.
In Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah. Which is funny because she kind of was pre-channeling a little Kill Bill in this movie.
With the yellow tracksuit.
The yellow tracksuit, and just...
yeah.
And then, pulling the knife, kind of, is very... It's funny to see that. Because she's not going to let a fight to the death stop her from getting in her daily run.
No. No, of course not.
She's also not going to let herself be stopped by this creepy perv Nita, who is a total moron, but he grazed her face with a crossbow bolt, so game over, moron. And that one was really hard to watch. I mean, not for him, he was a dickweed, but for other reasons. It was not great to watch.
She made sure that he felt it in all the right places.
Yeah.
It was very important that she did what she did.
Yeah. And then, like I said earlier, right after that, that's where Mitsuko pops out of the woods. And she takes a bullet from Mitsuko. But luckily she had her crush, Hiroki, there to sit with her as she died with some super cringy lines to each other. And I'm hoping it's way less cringy in Japanese. Because you look cool is not the line that you really want to go out on. But
no, they were really close friends, though. And you could tell that she was definitely crushing on him. But he had other plans. He spent the entire movie trying to get, and this is probably one of the saddest things in this movie, is Hiroki spent the whole movie trying to get to Kyoko Kotohiki. And she thinks he's going to hurt her, so she shoots him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, this is one of the saddest parts. And I'm like, oh, well then, my note isn't going to be so great for you. No. Because I literally just go, and Hiroki finally finds the girl he has a crush on, and she shoots him, so that'll teach you.
Yep. Sad. It's sad. I mean, he helped Shuya along the way. He did, pass messages. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
And he gets there, and then she's just horrified at what she's done, doesn't have any time really to think about it very long because Mitsuko is there, and she just takes her out, shoots her. Yeah.
And then Kiriyama shows up and does it one after the other after the other.
Yeah. It's chaotic.
Kind of felt like a wrestling battle royale. Like one person eliminates one, and it's like, haha, and then another one comes in and takes them out, and then another one comes in and takes them out. Yeah.
When you watch this movie, you can't, I don't know. We were talking about it before we started recording that it's a little over 2 hours. And it feels long, but it's not boring. It's just there's so much in it. Because we're talking about 42 students.
Trying to see if I have any other notes, just kind of random ones. Yeah, again, the top, the game is off to an early start with Fujiyoshi with the knife, and then Nobu goes next because Kitano triggers the collar, and I was like, damn, Kitano, save some murder for the actual participants of the game.
It's, you have to wonder what would have happened if Nobu had lasted in the movie, like... What? Well, because it's like butterfly flapping its wings. You don't know what one little thing is going to affect something
I like to think
else.
he would have lived at the end, like he would have just been with them with Kawada and done the whole
and
thing.
left, yeah.
There. Like he would have just been in that little group doing that same thing with them.
And on the run. Oh my God. And thinking about what the next movie... Ooh, I would have been excited for that. Unfortunately, that's not what we got. But, it was sad to see him go out so early. I really got sick of Kitano's callousness about things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's tough when friends die on you, but hang in there. I mean, what the fuck? They already feel bad enough. They don't need any more foolishness from him, for sure. So the version I watched was the director's cut, so it was a little bit over 2 hours.
Yeah, same. I've got that special edition. So at the top when you said runtime is 113 minutes, and I was like, not mine. I got 122.
Yep, that was mine. Because I think the special edition had 8 minutes of deleted scenes, and I went through the list of scenes, and I'm like, yep, I saw these. So that's the version that I saw. It's
the cover version we both watched and the version we covered. So if anybody's listening to this and going like, that didn't happen and that didn't happen, if we're talking about things, that's why we had a special edition.
Yeah. It's really interesting, this movie, with the controversies and stuff. It was banned in a bunch of countries, and the reaction to this one was similar to the reaction that the British had over A Clockwork Orange, which took place, it's a 1970s movie, Malcolm McDowell. That was very similar. They didn't release it in the US till over a decade later. Because they knew it was going to cause an uproar, and I think they probably thought, the longer we wait, they might be more receptive. But, and also, one of the things I did appreciate was how they used the flashbacks or flashes of the kids. Like, there was a set of friends that ended up pretty much killing each other or offing themselves. And we see them at the beginning. It flashes to them saying, we'll always be best friends, or we'll always be friends. And then they're dead. So they were just different. Sometimes it was done to remind you of who some of the kids were.
Yeah.
Because...
Which, that was kind of like a heartbreaking thing to watch at the beginning, is like when they're calling them by name one by one, and you're seeing like couples and like friends having to like part from each other. Like, they're going to reconvene right outside.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a whole new world they're stepping into, reconvening, knowing that like one or probably both of them are not going to make it out of this past the next 3 days.
And Shuya told Nariko when he was leaving to go, because he was boy number 15 and she was girl number 15. He told her, I'll be outside waiting for you. Like, he wasn't going to leave her alone. I'm not sure she would have survived on her own.
No.
I mean, not with Kiriyama. I mean, no way. He was... He was off the charts.
But yeah, that is actually all the notes I have.
Really?
It is.
Well, that is all the notes that I have. So I think we've made it through this big piece of the movie.
But I know you have all kinds of fun, behind the scenes trivia and fun things. You always bring some good stuff.
Yes. And this one was especially fun to put together because I love this movie so much. I get that it's definitely controversial, but there's just so much about it that I appreciate. So it's one I've watched a bunch of times. So now I'm going to share some of the things I've actually known for a while. So Kinji Fukasaku stated that he wanted to direct this movie because the novel it was adapted from reminded him of when he was 15 years old and working in an ammunition factory during World War II. Members of Japanese parliament tried to get the novel banned. They were not successful. And then they tried to get the movie banned as well. Instead of it getting banned, it ended up becoming more popular.
That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Exactly. Reminds me of a post that Stephen King made recently on Twitter that encourages kids to go read banned books.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always. And I love that there's a lot of bookstores and libraries and stuff that have banned book sections. And it's yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If your government and your schools are trying to ban books, go read them and see what they don't want you learning. What they not want you knowing. Because, yeah, it's always good.
Exactly. So the movie was shot in different locations in Japan. The island that they used, which is Hachiko Kojima, is an uninhabited island in the Izu chain, which is hundreds of miles south of Tokyo. That served as the island where the Battle Royale actually took place. So roughly 6,000 actors auditioned for Battle Royale. It was narrowed down to 800. And then the finalists went through a 6-month period of physical fitness training under the direction of Kinji Fukasaku. And he eventually cast the 42 out of the 800. In the film, Kawada and Kiriyama are transfer students. In the novel, only Kawada was the transfer student. Kiriyama was part of the class and actually the leader of a gang. The weapons, some of the weapons, an Uzi, submachine gun, handguns, Kama, which is the scythe-like weapon that Mitsuko had, a Spaz 12 shotgun, nunchucks, taser, knife, hand grenade, hand axe, crossbow, a sword, potassium cyanide, and some of the non-weapons that they had were a megaphone, the electric collar tracer, which is what Hiroki was using, paper fan, the saucepan lid, binoculars, and a bulletproof vest. Now, if you put all of those things together, you'd have quite an arsenal. So, Takeshi Kitano, who is also known as Beat Takeshi, was cast as the teacher for a bunch of reasons. He is a highly accomplished and well-renowned celebrity in Japan, and having him in this movie attracted a significant audience. Furthermore, his background as a game show presenter, notably hosting the well-known Japanese game show Takeshi's Castle from 1986 to 1990, added an element of authenticity to the film's high-stakes game show concept.
His name is familiar to me, and I don't even really take in that much Japanese stuff.
When Kitano speaks to his daughter on the phone, the girl on the other end of the line is actually Ai Maeda, who's the older sister of Aki Maeda, who played Noriko. And Ai Maeda is actually in the sequel. Kitano's daughter is there. None of the cast had stunt doubles, including the lead, Shuya Tatsuya Fujiwara. The painting of all the students was created by Beat Takeshi. Guki Nishimura, who played Oki, the student got the axe on the head, kept the cast entertained by bringing his rock band in to play during the breaks. So, Kinji Fukasaku celebrated his 70th birthday during the film's production. He passed away, unfortunately, 2 years later during the production of the sequel, thus ending a 40-year career in the director's chair. Unfortunately, he had, I believe, prostate cancer. He had shot just one scene for the follow-up. It was a cameo that included Beat Takeshi, and then he passed away. His son, Kenta, finished the movie and released it on May 18th, 2003, and it was dedicated to his father's memory. Toei Company refused to sell the film to any U.S. distributor over a decade because of what I said earlier, its concerns about the controversy and lawsuits. Anchor Bay finally acquired the film in 2010 for a direct-to-video release. The only way to see the movie during that time was at film festivals or, like me, getting bootlegger region-free international copies. A manga adaptation of the novel was written by Kushin Takami and illustrated by Masayuki Taguchi. The manga follows the plot of the novel fairly closely, but expands on the backstory of each of the students a bit more. Much like the plots of the novel and film adaptation, the manga is noted for its intense and gory violence. The genre of Battle Royale video games, in which players compete to be the last one standing in a shrinking battlefield, was inspired by the film and took its name from the film, which we talked about earlier, started recording. Quentin Tarantino praised Battle Royale back in 2009 and said it was his favorite film of the prior 2 decades. And an American remake had been in development since the early 2000s, did not come to fruition. We talked about the Hunger Games. During the summer of 2012, the CW had been in discussion with the Hollywood representatives about the possibility of turning Battle Royale into an American television show. According to a spokesperson, the talks were only preliminary. It didn't end up going anywhere. If they ever did this, please do it on HBO or Showtime. Right. Where you can really do it.
Again, like I said, a movie adaptation I'd like to see if it was done right. TV, I would also like to see if done right, but not by the CW. No. No. It would have to be like HBO. Yeah. Or Amazon even. Like, it's got to be a service that is going to allow for everything to happen. Yeah. In it. And finally, Roy Lee, who owns the rights, stated he might return to the film in 10 years to develop a Battle Royale movie for the next generation. Okay, Roy Lee. Battle Roy Lee. We'll have to see.
Well, that's it. Yeah. This was a crazy one to try to talk about because of all the small subplots that happened.
So much going on. Just pure chaos. But it's fun. It's a great, fun movie, and I hope that other people enjoy it like we do and maybe have some thoughts about it.
I hope so, too.
Well, speaking of that, just right there. There it goes. That's the
I guess we'll find out.
See. All right, we do have a couple pieces of feedback for this one this week, which is awesome. One written here comes from our listener Harrison. Says, highly disturbing film. It seemed to me like the inspiration for the Hunger Games. Yeah, I think you'd be correct in that assumption, for sure.
Definitely. Much more brutal, though, I think. I mean, the Hunger Games was brutal in its own way, but I think this one, with the relentless, continuous death of 40 kids, it's, to me, much more intense.
Yeah, random tangent for a little bit, because I remember, like, we were talking to some friends about us doing this movie, and I just, like, again mentioned the Battle Royale with cheese joke, like I did earlier on in this episode. It was like, oh, tell us how you really feel about Hunger Games. I was like, well, it's not that I dislike Hunger Games. Because I was just like, oh yeah, we're doing the movie The Hunger Games ripped off. But there's like, what do you feel? But no, there's a place for Hunger Games, because Hunger Games, took this idea and then ripped it off completely for a basis of their story. But then there's a lot more to that story, because then it focuses a lot more on revolution and change and like the events afterwards. So there is more stuff. Yeah,
definitely. The books, I really liked the movies, but I think the books were better. They really were. I worked my way through all of them.
Yeah, never read any of the books, but I did watch all the movies, and I will probably watch the like prequel thing or something that's coming out.
Yeah,
soon,
the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I think, is the name of it. I'm looking forward to that. It's not coming out till next year, I think, or later this year. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Well, I know you're going to be a little surprised, Pake.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to share with you.
Oh, really?
And I'm just going to share it.
Hello, Pake and Daphne. This is Steve. And, I wanted the live Steve Battle Royale. I really did. But right now, I'm not in the right headspace for a movie of that much violence and killing, especially kids. So I have watched it. I've seen it twice, I believe, twice or three times maybe, because I think I did something for it when you covered it on Adrenaline Cinema with Mark. But it is a great movie. It's just like I said, right now I'm not in the right headspace, I think, to watch it and really do a good live Steve of it. But it's one of those movies that was I want to say groundbreaking, but at the same time, the whole controversy about the Hunger Games, and aren't both of them based on a book? I think there's enough differences that I don't know what the resolution of the court battle was between them and the Hunger Games, but I've only watched Hunger Games, the first movie, once, and I've not watched any of the other ones, so I don't really have anything to say about that. But this one, I remember, the first time watching it, just being blown away by just how visceral the movie is. It's controversial, but yeah. So anyway, sorry, no live Steve. I'll try whatever your next movie is, next one you're doing. I'll try to see if I can get a live Steve of that one. So talk to you later.
Thanks, Steve.
Awesome. Yeah, that was really good, and totally understandable with things going on. It's good to hear from you. Anyway, much love to you. We love you, Steve. You know that, so always good to hear from you.
It's great to hear from you, Steve, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some fun ones lined up for sure.
We definitely do. I have a feeling there's one in particular that he may really be able to get behind. So we'll see. But if you'd like to submit feedback like Steve or Harrison, you can find us on our Facebook page and Instagram at Run For Your Lives Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at RFYL Podcast. Email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much all other podcast players, including YouTube. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you'll ever need, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
We really do, absolutely. And talking about sharing the love, of course, got to give some shout outs to things going on in the podcast universe around us. Of course, my other podcast, Strange Indeed. We are wrapping up our coverage of Sweet Tooth Season 2. Pretty soon, the penultimate episode is out now, and the final episode of Season 2, if you're listening to this like the weekend that we release this episode, then it's upcoming. We'll be releasing our episode on the Season 2 finale on Wednesday, so stick around for that. I've seen it. I've seen how the season ends. I'm super excited to break that one down and talk about it with Rima. I've got some really interesting and big thoughts on that finale. Things to look forward to into the final season of Sweet Tooth going forward eventually. So that's going to be a fun one. And then after that, we roll right into Black Mirror Season 6. I'm also super stoked to jump into that. I wasn't sure what to expect, but now that it is out, I've watched the first 3 already, and we'll finish it up tonight after this, I'm pretty sure. yeah, I'm super stoked to start talking about those on Strange Indeed as well. So yeah, if you haven't been listening to Strange Indeed, definitely go check it out if you're a fan of Sweet Tooth, and especially Black Mirror coming soon. Go check those out and get your feedback and come hang and listen to me and Rima when we get to that stuff.
Wasn't one of your first episodes you did for Strange Indeed Black Mirror episode?
I think it was. It might be. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first ever Strange Indeed episode I did was just as a guest. Was kind of in a between shows kind of thing. Rima was having people come on and do their favorite Black Mirror episodes, so I got to pick which episode to do. Of course, mine is the wonderful John Hamm centric episode, White Christmas. That is my favorite. So
yeah,
I went on and talked about that one. So that one's up there somewhere in the in all of that. So that was fun. So yeah, so this will be the first time I actually get to cover a Black Mirror season, because season 5 was like 4 years ago. It's crazy to think it's been that long, but it really has. So Sean was still on the podcast when they did that one. So
yeah. A lot of time has gone by.
Yep. Other good stuff going on in Podcastica, of course. The What Is From cast still kicking it strong with season 2 of From. That show has been incredible this season. It's so good. That show is awesome, and Alex and Lizzie are killing it. Still doing more and more interviews. We were talking to Alex the other night, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I've been talking to this person, and we got something lined up with this person, and this person might do." It's awesome how well connected they've been with the cast and crew of that show, which shows their dedication though, because the people who work and act on that show absolutely love them for covering the show, which it's a really cool little back and forth there. So I love that for them.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So episode 8 is out now. For this season 2, episode 8. And then, they just released another interview as well with AJ Simmons, who plays a new character to season 2, Randall, who's been really interesting to see where this story's going. So,
I don't know how I feel about him yet, but it's definitely brought some more drama to the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not that they needed more drama, but it's basically like put this other factor in the already mad world of everyone living in that little town.
Yeah. So definitely go check out their podcast if you're a fan of From. And then as I say this, if you're not, then go check out From and become a fan, because it's such a good show. And then, of course, the Cast of Us. We still got quite a ways till the next Last of Us season. But they keep doing some fun stuff over there. They got an episode up this week. Jason, Amelie, and Veronica breaking down the new show Silo. I believe that is
Amazon Prime, I think.
Amazon Prime. Okay.
Or Apple. It might be Apple TV.
It's an A.
It's an
service.
A service.
One of them. It starts with an A.
Yeah.
It's out there. You'll go check that out for sure. I haven't got around to watching it yet, but I've heard some really good things. So add it to my list of all the shows I'm trying to watch right now.
I can't help you with that one, Pake. With movies, I can help you cross some off your list. With shows, I can't do that because we don't really cover shows on this podcast.
No, I am still on a mad Star Wars binge to get through all the animated stuff before Ahsoka comes out. And it's a mad race to get there.
I can't think of what would distract you from that.
Who knows? Video games. Life. And then, of course, give a big shout out to the Revisited podcast as well with Ben and Kristen doing incredible stuff over there with their Lost rewatch. They're in season 6. Episode 4 is this week's episode, so they're getting through there, so they're in that final season, and then after that they'll be moving on to another show that, again, I'm still not sure if I'm allowed to say anything out loud. I'm not sure what's been posted, so just for safety I won't, but just know that it's going to be awesome.
It is.
And I can't wait to do listen to the next show and hopefully be on some episodes as well, because it's a show very near and dear to my heart that I can't wait to talk about.
Absolutely.
Or at least listen to.
And it's never too soon to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's pretty much everything else going on right now with all of our other friends. It's kind of a slower week, but that's fine. Again, with a lot of shows have been ending recently, and then with the writer's strike going on, who knows when we get a lot of newer stuff back in. Not to complain about that, because I've talked about this on Strange Indeed, and I know Daphne has a very similar opinion that me and Rima has, which is absolutely the writer's strike is not a burden to me. Take as long as it needs to, because worker solidarity, and let them get what they are owed. So
absolutely,
that's totally fine.
100% agree. It sucks that we have to wait, but the reason we have to wait is such a good one. Yep. They need to get paid what they're owed. They need to get paid what they're worth. Period.
Absolutely. So yeah, so writer strike, is it a problem sometimes as far as like, oh, I want to watch shows? Yes, but I'll get over it because people's livelihoods are very important. So
yes,
absolutely stand in solidarity. Do not cross the picket lines,
nope,
right?
Definitely not. Nope. We'll see what happens. You know what? People are going to have to go back and watch shows that they haven't had a chance to watch in the past.
There we go. Perfect excuse to finally get around to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But here at Run for Your Lives, we'll keep on trucking because, I mean, God, the backlog of movies we can constantly keep pulling from is never ending.
I love
Speaking
it.
of that, of course, we have another one for you next week. What do we got coming up next week?
Okay, so in a post-apocalyptic world, an assassin descends into the surreal and nightmarish realms of the underworld with one goal in mind: to blow it up. Through a combination of courage, resilience, and determination, they must navigate the perilous terrain and overcome the horrors that lurk in every corner. We are discussing a stop-motion film. It is Phil Tippett's 2021 movie Mad God. It is a film that was, 30 years in the making?
Yeah.
It prompted us to have one of my favorite conversations.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting one. We'll give kind of a warning to people. If you, I recommend definitely go, seek this movie out if you can and watch it. I can't promise everybody that you'll like it. It is very unique, very different. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea for sure. Just visually, storyline wise, some of the things that are in it, and then it's a very artsy film as far as like they even will say there's no plot. Like you managed to pull quite a synopsis out of something that really, I mean, there's not a lot of plot to it. It's a lot of your own interpretation and things that you take from it, which did lead, again, like Daphne said, to a really interesting conversation that I'm glad we took the time to do.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited to release this one. And like Peg said, it's not one that's going to be everyone's cup of tea. It may affect you in a different way than what you think going in. I certainly felt one way after I watched it, but after our conversation, it really evolved from where I started. And if you watch it and you're struggling after, we will be dropping a podcast episode that will hopefully shed a little light on it and help you along your journey as you process it.
Yeah. And if you do take the time to watch it, please leave us some feedback because we would love to read that, play that, whatever, and get some other people's thoughts. Because again, I said it's a movie that's open to interpretation in a lot of ways. So I feel like if we can get some really good feedback, I'd love to see how other people besides just us read this one.
Yeah, me too. Because I think there are, like you said, different ways of looking at it. And I think that the conversation was great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Very dark movie, but the conversation was great, as usual. And with that, we've reached the end of another terrifying, disturbing episode, Run for Your Lives. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pate.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.